Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, did you take some time and honor those who fought for freedom and led the charge 80 years ago to fight, to defend, to protect democracy from despotism? There's not too many of those great veterans left, referred to as the greatest generation. Those that are will be in their 90s, so there are not too many still to tell the tale. What will history be rewritten as when they're all gone? We see history rewritten all the time. The founding fathers of America once were honored as fighters for freedom and rights, religious freedom, human rights, and now they are, more times than not, simply members of the slave trade responsible for bringing systematic racism to a country stolen from natives. It's neither, one or the other. It's never been an either or. It never was. It never will be. And it's not just founding fathers. It's institutions. It's other nations. It's cultures. With the diminishing number of Holocaust survivors, we see more and more denial. Less and less teaching and education goes on about it. We used to see the founding of Israel as good. It was a good thing. It was a necessary thing. And now it's being seen as terrible. We see what once acceptance was for anyone now is about rejection and fear. We see anti-Semitism becoming violent, as it was once before, as all protest has now become violent protest without consequence. The day of peaceful protest is gone. The day of fear and hiding and running has rapidly returned and is dominant in the forces today. Calling for murder and genocide has become the order of the day. There's no consequence for these actions, as masked mobs terrorize Jews and others at universities, on subways, wherever these mindless idiots see those they oppose, and they usually oppose for no reason. Now, I know I sound like a broken record, but when will accountability return? When will decency return? When will respect for human life and dignity return? And when will the world demand the return of the hostages stolen? There's been no consequence for that either. Things change. Things change all the time. I remember the Reverend Jesse Jackson, when running for El Presidente back in 1984, he created what he called the Rainbow Coalition. It was designed for and welcomed voters from a broad spectrum of races and creeds. The goals of the campaign were to demand social programs, voting rights, and even affirmative action for all groups. It had nothing to do with the LGBTQT plus, I hate to say it, but I don't even know what half the groups or terms are these days. I still think of all as one. It is how we were truly meant to be. All of this was actually making me think a little bit about the life of man. And the first one who came to my mind was actually Abraham, considered the father of Western religion, and so perhaps the father of Western civilization. And like so many of us, he was rebellious in youth. So when does he listen? Abraham was 70 when told to leave his home for a place he did not know. And he did. Childless, a wanderer, believing he would die without heirs, and then promised he would be the father of more than the stars in the sky or sands on the ground. Then he finally became a father when he was 86, and then again at 99. We know he had other children, but we don't know when. Or Moses, who was 80 when God told him to go to Egypt to speak to Pharaoh. And while Abraham's considered the father of Judaism, he might truly be the father of monotheism, but Moses was the true father of Judaism. There was no religion that we're aware of until he set it down. Some of the practices might have existed among various tribes, but the rules, the laws, the ritual, they came from him. Do we not listen to God, who's talking to us all the time, until we are old? Maybe. Maybe that's why there's so much mindlessness these days among people. But these two great fathers of religion and culture reminded me that this weekend we pay due to the fathers of our lives. It's Father's Day, my friends. And yes, God is the great father, mother of all, but we also have fathers we have to think about too. Father of night, father of day. Father who taketh the darkness away, Father who teacheth the bird to fly, builder of rainbows up in the sky, Father of loneliness and pain, Father of love, Father of rain, Father of day, Father of night, Father of black and Father of white, Father who built the mountain so high, who shapeth the cloud up in the sky, Father of time, Father of dreams, Father who turneth the rivers and streams. We have to acknowledge the great Father of all, not just our Father, but our individual fathers. Yes, he was sometimes busy. Father was always tasked with making a living, providing, ensuring security. But our guide to work and determination came from him, to honor and justice, to contributing to being productive. And even though he tried, often the relationships were not what we look back upon as being what we would have wished for. We always wish things could have been just a little bit different. A child just the other day, he came to the room, planes to catch, and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. I was talking for I knew it, as he'd say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be. Quite often, we grow up like our fathers. Now, for many, the then, with the promises of good times to come, never came. Pardon me. So I want to make sure that you speak to Dad this weekend, whether he's here or not. He always hears what you have to say. And there's also another holiday, which is going to hold up our continuation of the regular Torah readings this week. It's one of the 3 gathering festivals. It's a bigger version of us gathering as we do weekly. So let's all gather right now as we come together as a group to honor and pray and observe as a community. As we put our differences aside, we form a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers, all showing faith. Any and all faith are welcome. Love, any and all love is welcome. We form a true chavura, fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness. Compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes unite us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach. Sharing, bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody in, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually. Any way at all to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. How good and pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Community. Together. You know, we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It is your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives. Let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Flows through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing, renewal, love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. Think about them. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. That's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Part of that healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's prayer that's said for the sick, but they don't have to be. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance, for those poor, defenseless hostages. We want them all to come home. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. For Alex and Esther, for Muriel and Barry, for Mary and Catherine, for Lucy, Carla, Jessica, and Mina, for Gabby, Marilyn, Maria, for Charles, for Shelley and Pam, Gloria, for Maria and John, for Teresa, Toria, for Fern and Johnny, for Connie, for Ronnie, whose birthday's coming up any day now, for Tally and Maya, for Tanya and Snoopy, for Nina and Danny, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everyone you know in need, for the whole world, for the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Mishamerach. Let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Me, Shabarach, may He who blessed. Because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our effort to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now we have the special holiday this week, the anniversary of the Great Epiphany, which is why we're not doing our regular weekly Torah. It's celebrated as the day God gave the Torah to the children of Israel on Mount Sinai. They think 1312 before the Common Era, about 3,300 odd years ago. Welcome, friends, to Shavuot. But what is it? We hear the name. The Bible refers to Shavuot as Hag HaKatzir, the festival of the harvest, since Shavuot was also the time when the first fruits, known as Bikurim, were brought as a sacrificial offering to the temple. And the first liturgy recorded in the Bible is devoted to this first fruits sacrifice. So we know it actually took place. We know the wording for it. Now, as we know, the word Shavuot itself literally means 7 or weeks, a reference to it falling in the calendar exactly 7 weeks after the start of Passover. That makes Shavuot the only Jewish holiday with no fixed date. All the others say it's the first day or the 10th day or the 15th day of specific months. This one doesn't. You just count the days from Passover. And unlike the Passover Seder and the building of a sukkah, Shavuot lacks the ritual of the other pilgrimage festivals. There's no special meal. There's no special readings that are done. There's no pomp. But what it does have as perhaps its only real custom, but not called for in the Torah in any way or shape or form, is the public reading of the book of Ruth. And it is believed that Ruth's arrival in Israel occurred around the time of the barley harvest, and her acceptance of Judaism was similar to the Jewish acceptance of the Torah on the mountain, which the holiday emphasizes. Now, the book of Ruth is the story of a Moabite woman who joins the Jewish people after the death of her husband. It's one of the shorter books of the Bible, but the story it tells is one of the most moving in all of the Old Testament. Now, a man named Elimelech from Bethlehem in Judah left his hometown when a famine struck. A lot of famines back then. He and his wife Naomi, along with their two sons Mahlon and Chilion, left for Moab. Elimelech died, leaving Naomi with her two sons. Well, the two sons, as they grew, they married Moabite women. Orpah, which I often confuse with Oprah, but Orpah and Ruth. 10 years passed, and both Mahlon and Chilion died. And so Naomi decided to return to Judah as the famine had passed. She encouraged Orpah and Ruth to remain in their homeland of Moab. After all, why should they accompany her back to her homeland now that their husbands were dead? They have a house in Moab. They'll be provided for from their families. Orpah agreed, but Ruth stayed by Naomi's side and vowed to accompany her back to Judah with the famous words from Ruth 1:16, "Do not entreat me to forsake you, to turn back from you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people is my people. Your God is my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. So may the Lord do to me, or even more, for only death will part you and me." She stood by her, no matter what. Where you lead, I will follow. Anywhere that you tell me. If you need me to be with you, I will follow where you lead. Now, back in Judah, there was a wealthy relative of Naomi's dead husband by the name of Boaz. Ruth went into the field to gather corn for the harvest. She caught the eye of Boaz. Boaz became desirous of her. He promised to treat Ruth, an outsider, as an equal, and welcomed her. Well, Ruth was overcome by his kindness and asked what she, a stranger, had done to deserve it. Boaz replied that he had heard how she left behind her own parents in Moab to accompany her mother-in-law into a strange land. Boaz announced he would marry Ruth, and they got married, and Ruth had a son. Now, this son had a son named Jesse, who had a son named David, the great king from whom the line of kings was promised. Now, the dictionary of the Bible suggests that Ruth's loyalty to her adopted nation of Judah is important because Ruth is the ancestor of David, the great king. She is his great-grandmother. So one meaning for the book of Ruth, and it's the most quoted meaning as to why we read it, is in its genealogical quality. It's kind of like one of the first 23andMe reports, as it provided the story of David's ancestry. If Ruth had never left Moab and followed Naomi to Judah, David would never have been born. But this book is far more. Ruth is a romance story, and it's one of only 2 books of the Bible named after women. The other, of course, is the book of Esther. Now, it's viewed as, like one of the great stories, but if you view it as a fictional story, it's a short story. And it's a short story some 2 millennia before the short story came into existence as a recognized genre. But the details of the narrative are too neat to simply be historical, as is so much in biblical writing. The names of Elimelech's children, Mahlon and Chilion, literally means sickness and wasting. Not names normally bestowed on children, but which speak symbolically with the famine which drives Elimelech to leave Judah behind for Moab. And so the story itself now becomes a metaphor. It's a metaphor for love, for devotion, for honor, for family. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light. Continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. An end to this war. Freedom for the hostages. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And believe me, all need it these days. And please do learn to forgive. Learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them because they need to know. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention. Our cabinet, our cause, our effect, everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged, and ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, with accountability, with vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you, as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, because we're all teachers. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love, because it's always in front of you. Work hard to be present in the body. Expand your heart. Quiet your mind, because the deepest source of your real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief in what they mean to you, not to somebody else. And never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other, because we are each of us trying to find love, acceptance, support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean, because you're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of, and listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they talks to you, whatever other pronouns you want to use. And remember, your connection to God and all he has created in body and in soul is a part of you. It's a part of me. It's a part of all of us, and will be forever. God shared those rules for life with man. Many have ignored them. Many have not. But this holiday reminds us to honor those rules, and it also reminds us, as Ruth set the example, to always be there for each other. What would you think if I sang another tune? Would you say that we're walking on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing at a key. I don't make no promises there. I get by a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. Gonna try a little help from my friends. Well, thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Keep practicing forgiveness. Be thankful, be gracious, be kind, be loving. Believe in yourself. Spread a little goodwill to the world. Continue to be the miracle in someone else's life and be an example of all you can be. And next week, we return to our regular readings. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.